Hey everyone, are you ready to get your hands dirty with some classic car restoration?
We're talking about bringing history back to life one car at a time.
This deep dive is all about prepping you for a restoration technician interview.
It's more than just fixing cars.
Yeah, it's a blend of mechanical skills
Arp straight.
and a true love for these automotive icons.
We've got 3 awesome resources to guide us.
A career guide for restoration technicians,
An interview guide loaded with sample questions.
and some intel on RoleCatcher's AI tools.
Think of this deep dive as a tune-up for your interview skills.
Let's get started with the first question from the interview guide.
Okay, hit me.
What inspired you to become a restoration technician?
Classic.
The guide mentions that interviewers are looking for your motivation and a good understanding of the role.
Makes sense.
What are your thoughts on tackling this one?
Well, it's your first chance to show your passion for the craft.
Right, not just saying, I love old cars.
You need to connect your personal experiences to the skills this job needs.
The career guide highlights some key skills in the role function section.
Like what?
Evaluating car conditions, identifying problems, developing restoration plans.
Yeah.
So let's say you've been rebuilding engines with your dad since you were a kid.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
How could you tie that into your answer?
You could talk about how those experiences gave you a love for mechanics,
Okay.
but also taught you valuable skills like patience, problem solving.
And that all-important attention to detail.
Exactly. Those are all essential for a restoration technician.
Couldn't agree more.
Plus, those personal stories help you stand out.
Make you more memorable.
Right. It shows you have a genuine understanding of what the role involves.
The interview guide also points out that hiring managers love follow-up questions.
Oh, to test your knowledge.
They might ask about your familiarity with different restoration techniques
Got
or
that.
your experience working on specific car makes or models.
So it's important to go beyond just expressing your love for old cars.
You need to know your stuff.
And this is where RoleCatcher's AI can really help.
It's like having a secret weapon
It analyzes job descriptions.
to identify those specific skills and experiences that employers are looking for.
Exactly.
You can use this info to tailor your answers and highlight the most relevant parts of your background.
It's like having a research assistant that knows exactly what each employer wants.
Okay, let's move on to the next question.
Shoot.
What are some of the challenges you have faced in your previous restoration work?
Everyone has them.
The interview guide emphasizes problem solving and learning from mistakes here.
Well, nobody's perfect, right?
How would you advise someone to answer this question?
Choose an example where you encountered a setback, but then took steps to fix it and improve,
Don't be afraid to show you're human.
and that you learn from those experiences.
Now, the career guide mentions that the work environment for a restoration technician can be demanding.
It's not all shiny chrome and fancy paint jobs.
Right. You might be dealing with noisy workshops
Getting your hands dirty.
and working with hazardous materials.
So how can you connect this reality to your answer?
You could talk about a time when you had to overcome a tough situation in a demanding work environment.
Like what?
Maybe you had to diagnose a complex electrical problem.
Or figure out how to repair a rare part that was no longer available.
It's about showing your resilience, your ability to think on your feet, and your dedication to producing high-quality work.
Even when things get tough.
Exactly.
And remember,
What's that?
interviewers love those follow-up questions.
Oh,
They might ask you to explain the specific steps you took to solve the problem.
or how you made sure the repair met quality standards.
It's about showing them, your stuff and you're committed to excellence.
Okay, on to question number 3.
Let's hear it.
How do you ensure that you comply with safety regulations while on the job?
Safety first.
This question is all about demonstrating your knowledge of safety protocols and your commitment to maintaining a safe work environment.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
crucial in a workshop.
The career guide emphasizes the importance of following safety procedures.
Makes sense, especially when handling hazardous materials, operating machinery, and using tools.
What are some key points you would highlight in your answer?
Well, I would emphasize my knowledge of those safety regulations,
Big one.
my experience wearing personal protective equipment,
Right, that's important.
and my commitment to keeping a clean and organized workspace.
You could even mention any specific safety training programs you've completed.
Oh, absolutely. It shows you're proactive about safety.
And again,
Why?
be ready for those follow-up questions.
Oh, right. They love those.
The interviewer might ask you to describe a specific safety protocol
Or maybe a safety scenario.
to assess your understanding.
It's all about showing them that safety is your top priority.
All right, let's tackle question number 4.
Lay it on me.
How do you choose the right restoration technique for a particular project?
Ah, this is where your expertise shines.
The interview guide wants you to showcase your critical thinking skills and your knowledge of different restoration methods.
It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of job.
You need to assess each project individually.
Right.
Weigh the pros and cons.
And choose the best technique for that specific car and what the client wants.
The career guide mentions that restoration techniques can range from traditional methods.
Yeah, like those passed down through generations.
To more modern approaches using fancy technology.
It's an evolving field.
How would you structure your answer to demonstrate your understanding of this range?
Well, I would start by explaining how I evaluate a car's condition.
Makes sense.
And figure out the client's goals.
Okay.
Then I would discuss different techniques I'm familiar with.
And highlight the advantages and disadvantages of each.
Exactly.
For example, you could talk about choosing between using original parts
versus high-quality reproductions.
It's a tough choice sometimes.
You have to consider the car's history, the availability of parts.
And of course, the client's budget.
It's all about finding that balance.
And you guessed it.
Uh-oh, what now?
Be ready for follow-up questions.
Right. Those are a given.
The interviewer might ask you to describe a specific project.
Where you had to choose between different techniques.
Exactly. Or explain your rationale for using a particular method.
It's all about showing them that you have a deep understanding of restoration techniques.
And that you can apply your knowledge to make informed decisions.
Exactly. Decisions that will bring those classic beauties back to life. Welcome back to our deep dive into acing that restoration technician interview.
We've already tackled some common interview questions.
Now let's see how RoleCatcher's AI can really up your prep game.
You mentioned earlier that RoleCatcher analyzes job descriptions.
Yeah, it's like a mechanic taking apart an engine.
Pinpointing the specific skills and experience.
Even personality traits.
That employers are looking for.
It's all there in the data.
So instead of guessing what the interviewer wants,
you have solid data to guide you.
Like a roadmap for each interview.
Highlighting those key areas you need to nail.
That's amazing. So how does this help you craft better answers?
Let's say the job description wants someone with experience in vintage electrical systems.
Oh?
RoleCatcher would flag that.
What?
Suggest tailoring your answers to highlight projects where you've tackled electrical challenges.
So if you've restored the wiring harness on a classic car,
you definitely mention that.
And explain the challenges you faced.
The techniques you use.
And the outcome.
You're connecting the dots for them.
Showing how your skills and experience match their needs.
RoleCatcher doesn't just analyze job descriptions, though.
What else?
It can analyze your CV.
Or resume.
And compare it to what the job needs.
So you can see if you're highlighting the right stuff.
It's a virtual career coach.
Helping you optimize your resume to catch those employers' eyes.
Now let's talk about those application questions.
The ones that ask you to tell us about a time you showed leadership.
Or describe a challenging situation and how you overcame it.
Those are tough.
It's hard to know how much detail to give.
Or what tone to use.
RoleCatcher's AI can analyze those questions.
Really?
And give you suggestions for crafting strong responses.
No way!
It identifies the key themes and keywords.
Helping you structure your answers to match what they're looking for.
So your answers are clear. And hit the right notes.
This is getting interesting.
RoleCatcher also has an AI-powered feedback system.
What for?
For practicing your answers.
So it's not just about reading sample answers.
You can rehearse.
And get personalized feedback.
You can type them out.
And get feedback on things like clarity and conciseness.
And you can even record yourself answering questions on video.
Get out of here.
And get AI analysis of your performance.
Like a virtual mock interview?
With a coach that can pinpoint areas to improve.
The AI looks at your body language.
Your tone of voice.
Even the pace of your responses.
It's amazing.
You get actionable feedback.
To help you come across as confident and engaging.
So you can practice.
Until you feel totally ready.
That's incredible.
Speaking of prep.
What about it?
Let's go back to the career guide.
Always good to revisit those insights.
The guide mentions that car restoration is always evolving.
With new tech and techniques always coming out.
You gotta stay informed and adaptable.
How can a new restoration technician keep up?
The career guide suggests attending industry events,
What?
connecting with other pros, pursuing ongoing training.
Makes sense.
It also says to be open to new ideas.
Because the best restoration technicians are always learning.
And guess what? RoleCatcher can help with that too.
Really?
It can connect you with resources, courses, and communities.
To help you grow professionally.
So you can hone your skills and stay at the forefront of this field.
Remember,
Right.
a passion for classic cars is the foundation.
Absolutely.
But you need to combine that with constant learning and good preparation.
That's what sets you apart.
Great advice.
We've covered so much.
Explored how RoleCatcher can really transform your interview prep.
From those job descriptions
To personalized feedback.
RoleCatcher helps you shine.
And in part 3,
We'll wrap it all up
leaving you with some final thoughts and strategies.
to help you nail that interview.
And start your journey as a restoration technician. And we're back for the final part of our restoration technician interview prep.
We've covered a lot of ground.
From those tricky questions
To RoleCatcher's AI.
Now it's time to put it all together.
Get you ready for that interview.
A successful interview is kind of like a good restoration project.
Careful planning
Attention to detail.
and a real passion for what you're doing.
The career guide really stresses that love for classic cars.
It's what drives a successful career in this field.
So how can you show that passion in the interview?
Think about what got you into this.
What sparked that interest?
Was it a childhood memory of a certain car?
Or an awesome project you worked on?
Maybe a deep love for automotive history?
Let that enthusiasm shine through.
Don't be afraid to be specific.
If you've got a favorite make or model, tell them.
Talk about car shows you've been to.
Or those cool automotive museums.
Those little details make you memorable.
Show you're truly passionate.
Now you got to tie your passion to the job itself.
RoleCatcher's AI can help with that.
It helps you see what skills and experience they want.
So you can match your answers.
Let's say they're looking for experience with engine rebuilds.
Okay.
RoleCatcher can analyze your resume.
Highlight those engine projects.
Then in the interview, you talk about those experiences.
The challenges, the techniques you used, the results you got.
You're making those connections.
Showing how your passion turns into real skills.
Now for some final tips for the interview.
Okay, what you got? Dress sharp.
Even though you'll be working with your hands,
You want to look professional.
shows you're serious.
Be ready to talk about salary expectations.
Do some research beforehand.
Know the typical range for restoration technicians.
That way you can be confident.
Don't forget to prepare some questions for them.
Well, that's important.
It shows you're interested.
Like what?
You could ask about the company's approach to restoration.
The kinds of projects they do? Or chances for professional growth.
Those questions show you're thinking ahead.
That you want to be part of their success.
Well, we've reached the end of our deep dive.
Explored the job.
Tackled those interview
Well, I
questions
used RoleCatcher's AI.
to prep like a pro.
Now go get that job.
Show them your passion.
And bring those classic cars back to life.
Even if you don't get this specific job,
What you've learned here will help you.
keep learning.
Keep practicing.
Never give up on your passion.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll be back with another deep dive soon.
Keep those engines running.